Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and thank you, Minister, for coming in this morning. I have a very important issue that I would like to speak to you about today. Just last month, the Department issued the news that 800 new special needs assistants were to be allocated to schools from September. The reason given was that there was a record number of children in mainstream schools requiring the support. While I welcome the announcement, early avoiding the usual uncertainty among schools, the pace of SNA's allocations is just not happening fast enough for the children who need it and the staff who work it. There are, for this coming September, 110.6 posts allocated to Carlow schools. There were reductions in some schools, there were increases in others. However, there is no increase in Ballinabranna National School, despite the fact that because of the new intake in September, there will be 4 children who need the support. I will not name the children or their specific needs to protect their privacy. However, these children in some cases need constant supervision and it will be impossible as they cross all class ages. I was contacted last week by parents who are suffering anxiety over their allocation. The allocation for this school will not serve the well-being of any of the children in need of this support, and I have serious concerns for the morale of the SNA. Ballinabranna National School, a mixed school in Carlow with almost 200 children, was allocated 46.05 hours and only 1 SNA post. The parents of the children have been at pains to highlight the great support they have from the SNA, from the staff, from the principal. It is the department by whom they feel let down with this allocation. Just looking at the hours, I am concerned that 1 SNA would be required to put in these hours. The parents asked for help, the school applied for support, they contacted the Special Educational Needs Organiser, and yet this September, according to your department's allocation, these 4 children will have to share a resource that can only be described as overstretched. When considering making an application for the support of special needs assistant, it is important that a balance must be struck between allocating necessary care support and the right of the child to acquire personal independent skills. In the case of Ballinabranna, each of the 4 children require constant care support in order to be independent. However, when faced with the prospect of their child in need of medical assistance and supervision at all times in the day, the parents feel they might have to be on call throughout the school day in case the SNA is attending to another child and their child needs intervention or to administer medication or to support on a medical need. That is not offering any independence to the child if the parent has to swoop in on a regular basis, and it offers no support to the parent to live a full life while the child is in school. The duties of special needs assistants sanctioned by your department are a non-teaching nature, and teachers cannot be required to administrate medication or supervise a child who could be in serious medical need while they are going about their teaching daily. SNAs provide a tool to these children to go to the school and participate in education with their peers. Without this support, these children will be unfairly discriminated against. The SNA will be pulled in all sorts of directions. The child needing help may feel isolated because they need something they cannot access because the system is not allowing it. It is not good enough for 4 children with individual needs to share 1 SNA. What if the SNA is off-site with 1 child? For example, on a school tour, what do the other 3 do then? When a child begins primary school, we try to ensure that the child is included. For a child to come from a preschool setting with full SNA access to a school where the SNA has 3 other children and are in a different part of the school will not ensure the child feels included at all. Finish now, Cathaoirleach. I would like you to look at this allocation in the school, particularly, Minister, to listen to the parents, the school, the SNA and me on this. I feel this is so important, Minister. I feel these families and these children are being absolutely, I feel it's neglect, to be honest now. And I'm asking you now for 1 more SNA, 4 children to 1 SNA, I feel is not acceptable. Thank you, Minister, and thank you for coming in today.
Minister, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. And as you know, I'm the Minister in charge of higher education.
I know as a teacher, Minister, you would have been.
To speak, yes. Thank you.
And I am taking it for Minister McHugh. And as a former principal, I do want to pay tribute, and I'm not just saying this, you know, it's the wonderful work that's being done for supporting children by our SNAs, the length and breadth of the country. And we have approximately 15,950 SNAs in the country. So I do want to say thank you. I can understand your frustration, because actually the same has happened in my own constituency and schools have contacted me. But I do want to assure the House that the education of children, as you know, with special educational needs does remain a key priority of the Government. The Government will invest in the region of €560 million in the SNA scheme as part of the €1.9 billion investment in special educational needs overall this year. As I said, there's 15,950 SNAs working in our schools, providing support for approximately 37,500 pupils by the end of this year. So this is a 51% increase on 2011, when the number of special needs assistants stood at 10,575. The Special Needs Assistance Scheme has been a major factor in the successful integration and participation is really important, of children with special educational needs in mainstream education and in specialist settings, for example, special class or special school. My department's policy is to ensure that every child who is assessed as qualifying for special needs assistance support will receive access to such support. The National Council for Special Education, which is, and I need to stress this, an independent agency, is responsible through its network of local special educational needs organisers, the SENOs, for allocating special needs assistance support to schools in accordance with published criteria. My department is not involved in making decisions in relation to individual cases. In considering applications for SNA support for individual pupils, the Special Education Needs Organiser takes account of the pupil's needs and considers the resources already available to the school to identify whether additionality is needed or whether the school might reasonably be expected to meet the needs of the pupils from its current level of resources. Special needs assistants are not allocated to individual children, but to schools as a school-based resource. It is important that this House is aware that each school's allocation of special needs assistance support can change from year to year in line with changing student profile. For example, when students with special educational needs leave a school and they are not replaced by others with a similar level of need, or when new students with significant needs enrol in a school. Sometimes also an individual school need may change over time, and in each case the SNA allocation would be reviewed and adjusted as required. The NCSE have an appeals process, and Senator, the school needs to appeal. That's the advice I'm giving to the schools in my constituency. They need to appeal with this very strong appeal, and which may be invoked by a parent or a school where it is considered that the child was not granted access to SNA support on the grounds that the requirements of the SNA scheme are not met. Schools may also appeal a decision where the school considers that the NCSE has not allocated the appropriate level of SNA support to the school to meet the care needs of the children concerned, as outlined in the department circular. Now, I do understand from the NCSE that they have received an appeal. They have received an appeal from Ballinabranna School. This will be dealt with in accordance with the formal appeals process. The department is not involved in this process, nor is Minister McHugh. The NCSE is available to support schools through advice and professional development where this is necessary. The Council advises my department on policy matters relating to meeting the needs of children of special needs. So I do want to take this opportunity on behalf of Minister McHugh to assure the House that schools that have enrolled children who qualify for support from the SNA will continue to be allocated SNA support in a manner appropriate to their needs.
Thank you, Minister. Senator,
Yeah,
very
no,
briefly now.
I just want to thank you, Minister, and I did know that Minister McHugh wasn't coming in, and I felt it was appropriate that you would be here this morning as a school principal and a teacher yourself. Look, I have concerns about the appeal process. The appeal has gone into the NCSE, but I just feel that your department and the Department of Education, particularly Minister McHugh, when he announced that these 800 new SNAs were coming, and yet now we are fighting a battle to get one extra SNA, that's all we want. But I will follow it up, Minister. I would ask that you would address Minister McHugh. Again, I knew you were coming in and I was glad, Minister, it was you as well. So maybe on my behalf, you could go back to Minister McHugh and like your own, there's going to be more cases of this, but this is a very, very serious situation. I believe that we definitely need one more SNA, and I would hope, that this will be looked at favourably.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Minister. Very briefly
and
now.
Senator Murnane O'Connor, I will do that for you. Yeah, I'll talk to the Minister myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much.